family to the zoo. Maybe my next practical action is to talk with my wife. Seems like a pretty sound next action because I don't want to do a whole bunch of work on this project, then find out that they want to go to the movies. So this could be prevented by, hey, how about that? Caring about my wife and her input to see if going to the zoo is a thing that she wants to do. And certainly talking to the kid and seeing if that's what she wants to do, if that's what they both want to do. Now this, you're probably looking at this and going, so what, Toby? This is duh. But see, how many of us actually do things in this way? How many of us actually put the plan together? How many of us actually take the space? Because like I've said in previous podcasts, is that oftentimes we are all too overcapacitated, and so oftentimes we're reacting. People wanting to do things, wanting our time, and suddenly we feel bad or guilty because we weren't spending enough time with them, and so we end up doing things that we might not want to do with our time. So this is a really important piece, is that finding that next action, that next practical action, so that you can get the project on the ground. Now, I consider the project a success if I go to my wife and she says, we want to go to the movies that day. Or, oh boy, did you, and hopefully I'll be tracking this better through this plan, but there was a recital or whatever. So I just want, again, to come back to this concept of the next action, because I don't want you leaving this with the item that you've just looked at. Have you asked yourself, what is it? Is it actionable? Can I do it within 2 minutes or less? Is this part of a multi-part project? Okay, if it is, what's the next logical place to get this off the ground? Very, very important. Now, it could be, too, now you see if you're looking at the picture or diagram similar to what I'm looking at, you'll see that there's a folder called Waiting For. What's that folder? Well, Waiting For is simply that. I'm waiting for it. My boss wants me to be available on the 3rd of January. I'm waiting for that information to come in, but I got this project open. It's on my boss to get me that information, or guess what? Or I might check in on, but if they don't talk to me, I don't know. And you'll see the next actions. Now, the next actions is key because you're going to have, you just drew up a list of 4 to 5 things or however many things that are on your mind that you're dealing with right now. So the next action is so key to have that piece down as part of your planning. See, oftentimes we get bogged down and go, gosh, I got to learn everything about this plan. I got to have it nailed down, watertight, blah, blah, blah. No, you don't. No, you don't. You need to have one thing nailed down. What's your next action? Nailed down. And you need a list that holds all your next actions for all your plans. And we are going to get to those plans in a future podcast episode that we're going to call the Mind Map. But for now, all you need to know is my next action is, in this particular case, I want to go to the zoo. My next action is to talk to my wife and brainstorm. And that's basically it. You're done, except there's a little bit more that you need to do, a little bit more work, and then you're out. Where am I going to do it? What am I going to do? Can I text message her? Text message my wife, okay? Can I phone call her? Is that how I'm going to do it? Am I going to do it tonight, or am I going to do it over family dinner tonight? Or am I on the road? It is very important for your next action to be meaningful, that you get very specific with where you're going to do it and how you're going to do it. Because if you miss the where and how you're going to do it, your next action, you're not going to be able to access that. And let me give you a clear example why. In the case of the zoo, I'm going to talk to my wife about it. Okay, well, that's great. Okay, when am I going to talk to her? So let's say I don't make that decision. So I haven't fully engaged. She comes home, we're talking, night goes on. Oh, there's something I need to do. She was telling me about her day, I was telling her about mine. We were talking about how the kid is doing. We started watching a show, or maybe I went off and did a project that I was working on. Now, if I say, talk with her over dinner tonight, what that does is it sets a trigger in my head that over dinner, oh, there's something I need to talk to you about because I've written it down. Or text message her right now. Send a text message to talk to her. Now I've put that there. So the context of why you do things acts as a mental trigger so that it reduces, you still will forget stuff, trust me, you'll still forget stuff from time to time, but it reduces that trigger, it reduces forgetfulness, because your mind now is triggered into action because you're like, oh, I'm here. So we oftentimes think in the movement of triggering as a bad thing. In this particular case, triggering is an empowering situation where it's based on where you're at, when you're at, it's triggering you to do something to get this project off the ground. And once you got that project off the ground, you take those first steps, then it becomes easy. Once I've talked with my wife, then a next action should appear. And maybe that next action is a brainstorm. If she says green light, go, let's plan. Let's go into planning. Let's talk about it. Let's figure out what we're going to do. Let's figure it out. And let's also together figure out what the next logical action is. If we do that piece, we are going to be successful. So I just bring that up. So to just wrap this up, the things that I want you to take away from this discussion. Again, remind you, you have stuff. Feel free, anytime you're feeling stressed, feel free to take the time to get a pen and paper out or to do it on your phone, wherever you're doing it, and just vomit out all those things that are frustrating you. Vomit out all the issues that are on your mind. Big priorities, little priorities, doesn't matter. Clear your mind. Like En Vogue sang about 25 years ago, free your mind and the rest will follow. Figure out what it is, define it. Give it some detail. Oftentimes we write things down in a hurry. You want to be pretty descriptive about what you're looking for so you can define what the outcome is. Have a good time with my family at the zoo. It's a perfectly good outcome. It's a lot better than just saying, go to the zoo. Determine if it's actionable. Determine, can I do something with this? Have folders and lists that you can put things where it's appropriate. If it's a reference issue, if it's something like a grocery list or some sort of item, put it on that list. Get it out of your head. If it's something that you're going, the zoo, but maybe we want to do something else. Maybe we want to do the zoo, and I'm not really ready to commit to this zoo. Maybe we want to go to, I need some more time to think about it. I'm going to put this into some sort of someday maybe folder. And then once you've answered that it's actionable, what's the next action? Is this part of a project? Is there more than 2 things I need to do, or can I do this in 2 minutes? Folks, once you figure those pieces out, then the rest becomes easy, because you're either going to do it, you're going to delegate it. Oh, this, I'm waiting on my wife. My wife's getting paid, and she needs to make sure her check clears, whatever. Then you're deferring it and saying, okay, I can't do this project now. I don't have the time to do it. I'm going to do it at a later date. I could physically put that on the calendar if it's something I'm physically going to commit to, or I can put it in the next actions list where, hey, when I have a moment like I do now, I'm locking in and we're taking care of it. I'm also doing another thing. I'm grouping things by context. I'm grouping my text messages together. I want to know, are my text messages together? I want to know, are my phone calls together? Are my emails together? Am I clearing out the business? So when I'm at my email computer, I can shoot my wife that email that shows that, oh, hey, boy, there's free passes today or whatever. And in the case of the situation with the zoo and my wife, the next action we talked about is we're going to talk about over dinner tonight. I can actually put that on a calendar and say, tonight at dinner, we're going to talk about this, because it's a specific time at a specific place with a specific purpose. That makes it easy to do. So hopefully you found this a little bit helpful for you. Next week, the next podcast, I should say, we are going to go over the natural planning model. Thank you for taking the time.